All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Jeff. In today's session, the title of it, Harnessing the Power of Menopause, shared by my dear friend from way across the world, Lisa Marie. Man, I was going to share how transformation happens in this process. So anyway, welcome to Conversations with Jeff, and our mission, for those of you that don't know, is to bring guests from all over the world, from different backgrounds and different experiences, who male, female, educated, uneducated, who have found a way to step into their purpose, found a way to understand the power that they gain for standing in the comeback. Oh man, and then they come to the show, guys, and they just open themselves up to you, right? With a goal over the time that you spend with us, a shared goal that we both have, to do the couple of things and to fill your soul with gratitude, right? We believe that gratitude is such a powerful word. It can change how you're thinking, can change your perspective in an instant, right? If you sit down and be thankful for things that it just changes that, right? And then also igniting your unwavering self-confidence, self-belief, right? Those two pieces in our lives, they always kind of show up either to move us forward or hold us back. Right. And today's, I guess, is just some really great stuff around her story. I can't wait to hear it, right? I mean, I'm hearing it for the first time too. So, oh boy, get ready. But I will tell you this: the time that we've spent together has just been amazing, right? And just the humility and the graciousness and the skill sets has been just a treat so far. So, and lastly, guys, there's so many people out there that wonder where they fit, where they belong. And it's also about reminding you that you are worthy, no matter how your life has been, no matter what you're facing right this very moment. And even if you're flying high and things are great, right, but you're still worthy. We all need to be reminded of that. And my name is Jeff Tyson, and I'm the host of Conversations with Jeff International and founder of Comeback King Enterprises. And I got all of that name Comeback King from people that have seen me go through a lot of things that you have gone through in your life, and then help them understand that they are worthy, help them understand that they can do what it is that God's given them the gift to do, whoever you believe in. And they stand on their purpose, right? So anyhow, man, all I ask you to do is when you hear this, whether it's a recording or not, let us know where you're coming from. Show some love to the guest. Add some comments to what you feel you've gained from this and how it's helped you, or what you think we missed, so we can get better at that in serving you, and share this information and do a review when you get an opportunity, right? So just to go over a quick bio, and then we'll get right to why you're here today or why you're hearing this message. Again, Lisa's vision and mission is dedicated to teaching midlife professional women to thrive in menopause and beyond, living an energized, happy, and strong life with a mindset following that, and loving the body that they're in. Love the body that they're in. Love the skin they're in, right? You know what I mean, right? I mean, just be grateful for who you are. Experiencing medically induced menopause twice in her 20s. She went on a life's quest, I like this part, to prove this next life chapter was indeed a power pivot. We're going to talk about power pivoting today, right? Not a loss, because of her own backstory of abuse, sickness, facing bankruptcy, to name just a couple of them. Lisa has been an inspirational leader for over 30 years. Her expertise focuses heavily on women's holistic health. Her methods are unconventional, which I love a little unconventionalness, baby, but very effective. Right? But with powerful tools in the toolkit that combine East and Western medicine, neuroscience, and ancient wisdom. Lisa's career has been vast, ranging from military service, public speaking, audiences of thousands, medical scientists, holistic health practitioner, woman's business and leadership mentor, author, and lover of woo, and teaching manifestation. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to this for her this morning, or us in the afternoon, my friend from way over in Australia, Lisa Marie.
Yay! All I can say is happy Wednesday from Australia. It's 3:05 a.m.
Amen. Thank you so much, boy. And you could tell you wouldn't know that you were. When most people would be snooping away, you're wide awake and just like you're ready for work. So thank you for showing up today.
I'm on. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome for that. So, hey, listen, let's get right to it so you can maybe get back on, lay your head on that pillow for a little while before the day comes. And Lisa, we talked before the show about, our purpose and our goal today. And, we talked in promoting about the energizing and having a strong life in spite of all the things. And even the whole hushness maybe around menopause and for fellas, right? So ladies, make sure your fellas dial into this and because we need to know, we need to stand in this knowledge that she's going to give us. We need to be a part of the journey and not hide behind it, because I think, I know from my own experience that the more information I can seek and have, the better prepared of a partner I will be. So, but anyway, man, you got so many things to start with. I mean, where would you like to go with this morning?
I won't start from the beginning because that's that's for another podcast, right?
Yes, I love it.
But my beginnings were very challenging. I had a very violent psychiatric mother, and we all experience trauma in our life. No matter your pet could die, a parent could die, a child could die. We could be in a car accident. We could suffer illness. So we all suffer multiple traumas throughout our life, but we don't necessarily think of them as trauma. It's just life happens. But there's a brilliant book. I don't know the author off the top of my head, but The Body Keeps the Score. And this is very true from a scientist's perspective, because on a cellular level, the body does hold on to pretty much all of our life experiences. And one thing I would like to say before I get started is, even though I do have a medical background, I'm making no medical claims here during this conversation. What I'll be sharing with you is current research that is around the topic, plus my own personal laboratory, my body that went through all of this. And yes, I did go through menopause twice, medically induced, in my 20s, which is quite, it's a double take when people hear that. And so I'm 55 now. And so, I've had a little while to live with this and sort out what the heck's going on with my body.
Man, I can only imagine at that time in your 20s and you do it twice. Before you move on, why did you have to do that? What was happening?
Yeah. So I put down a lot of my childhood illness to literally the abuse that I suffered. Stress is one of the biggest precursors to disease. It can be any kind of stress. It can be lifestyle stress, emotional stress, environmental stress, toxic exposure. So everything matters.
Yeah.
Like one of my dear mentors, Mr. Jim Rohn, would always say, everything matters.
Yeah.
Everything matters about the choices that we make and then the actions that we take from that. And so I was a very ill teenager. A lot of my abuse, which was both emotionally and physically, my mother was in and out of psychiatric institutions while I was growing up. So I lived every day in fear. And we know that when the body is stuck in the hormones of stress, it has catastrophic health problems. I also wasn't really consciously aware that I had self-worth issues, because I was a child athlete. I was a swimmer. And so I spent a lot of time around champions and leaders, which I think was my saving grace. Because I was able to disconnect from that very violent environment that I lived in. And when I was a teenager, I gave up swimming and I started to put on some weight. And so one thing led to another of me dieting, and I ended up with anorexia nervosa. And when you have an eating disorder, that is pretty much the one control piece that you have in your life. People don't understand that eating disorders are a form, it's very masochistic, but it's a form of self-control.
Yes.
Because to starve yourself to death takes a lot of control, I can assure you. So that episode in itself created even more health challenges to me in a young developing woman's body going through puberty. Starvation affects your sexual hormones being produced, and therefore I ended up with a lot of hormone disease. I ended up with systemic endometriosis, which is an autoimmune disease. And we've got to bring the mind in here as well.
Yes.
Because I never wanted to be a mother. And because my observation of a mother was you hurt your child.
Yeah.
And so subconsciously, I must have thought if I become a mother, I'm going to turn into that monster.
Yes. Yes.
And so interestingly, my disease started in my reproductive system. And so I had my first surgery at the age of 19. By the age of 29, I'd had abdominal surgery 14 times to remove disease. I had terrible, terrible hormone therapy during that time. One of that was a drug to literally shut down my pituitary gland from producing sex hormones. So literally, bang, within a 2-week period in my early 20s, I went through menopause. It was the most, which, mind you, perimenopause for most women before they hit the menopause stage starts possibly around 35 and can go for 10 plus years. And the symptoms drizzle in. I was hit with this like a Mack truck. So you can imagine my body was just literally turned off from that tap. And I was suicidal. I wanted to die. I felt like an alien had taken over my mind and my body. My body was on fire. It screamed, it ached, I was out of control in my mind. It was horrific.
This was all going on. So this was all going on, and you weren't too far removed from close to mom, and you still had some of that trauma going on. So I could just sit here and envision it. I mean, what kept you? What kept you holding on? Right? Because man,
it was actually angry desire. We're driven by two things: inspired desire or angry desire.
I like that. I like that.
Clearly, my childhood taught me courage and resilience. I was an island, like I was isolated. I had no friends because I didn't want to get hurt. I really had to figure life out by myself. And so I believed that, we've heard that your past does not define your future. And I believed that I was going to be successful no matter what I had been through, just to prove my mother wrong. It was that reverse psychology kind of thing. It was just like, I'm going to prove to the world, it doesn't matter what you suffer, you can be anything that you want to. And that was literally how I lived for the first close to 40 years of my life. I matured along the way. But I was not a very nice person on reflection, because I didn't know how to love. I didn't know what compassion was. I didn't have empathy for other people because I was just trapped in this little bubble of suffering. But so determined to find a way out. I believed there was a seed of belief within me that no matter what adversities thrown my way, I will find a way. I will find a solution.
Yeah. The possibility was there, and no matter what. And I love the fact that you were angry, because people only move forward from anger, or they want something else. They feel called to do something. So I love that. And then being an athlete and still not having peace. I was like, same with me. I mean, the whole mindset thing, not really knowing about that piece of it. Because as athletes, we train physically and have mental to win, but you don't really talk about self-development. I didn't, and I heard you mention about self-development and the impact it has spiritually and all that. So you're angry, you're killing it, you're making things happen, you're 40 years old, you got through these tremendous physical body. My body was feeling all kinds of things when you were talking about it, because I know how powerful that had to have been for you, Lisa. But you're still moving forward. So now you're coming up on 40, and you were back. I just interrupted you, so I'm gonna give you back that piece of it.
Yeah, I ended up having a hysterectomy at 29, okay. And because I had made that decision that I didn't want to have children, and the gynecologist basically said, well, endometriosis, it's autoimmune, it's untreatable. We can keep giving you hormone therapy and keep chopping bits out. And I just said, well, take the organ system out.
Yeah.
that was my solution.
Yeah.
And back 30 years ago, there was not, and today I'm very much aware that the people going through med school are not given much education about what happens in women's hormone decline.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
I agree.
And what is I'm reading a book at the moment, and by 2030, 1.2 billion women around the world will be in menopause or postmenopause. That's 47 million women entering that life phase each year. And there is very little awareness around it. And the reality is, because menopause is permanent, but suffering is not around it. You have to think of the complexity of how much that hormone system is part of a woman, because a woman has basically an incubator to support life for 9 months. She's got the hormones and the eggs to produce a fetus, obviously with a male partner of some kind, however the sperm is delivered. And then there's all sorts of ways it's delivered these days. And so, you've got to think that my body grows another human body.
Yeah.
And what is involved in that process is it's mind-boggling. We don't take the time to think of that.
Yeah.
And so when that major part of that woman's body has ended and is in decline, we have multiple systems in our organ systems in our body. There's over 12 major organ systems. All of them have estrogen receptors on them. And we don't, it's now just through research that we're finding that common ailments. Let me name a few. Hair loss, loss of collagen, so aging, reflux, GERD, IBS, itchy skin, Alzheimer's, dementia, heart disease, insulin resistance, frozen shoulder, arthralgia, achy joints. There's dozens of common day symptoms that both men and women suffer.
Yeah.
However, for women, when they go to the doctor because they can have all their labs done and they come back normal, but their body is the warning signs are going off, like something is not right with my body. And that is normally the fact that the hormones are in decline, and there's not enough doctors that are knowledgeable to say, okay, well, I think, normally it's, well, it's in your head because we can't find anything wrong with you. And or it's just the aging process. A woman's morbidity is increased dramatically from 30 to 50% once she starts in that menopause to postmenopause phase. And the biggest killers are cardiovascular disease, so heart attack, Alzheimer's, dementia, and diabetes mellitus.
Wow.
So we need the support and the awareness from, one, the medical profession, but two, an understanding from our employers and our partners, because we don't have control over hormone decline.
Yeah.
But the biggest, if anybody's ever going to take anything away from this conversation, Jim Rohn taught me we have to take 100% responsibility for our life.
Yes.
If you are not in good health practice of eating right, of hydrating, of moving your body, of having good sleep practice, of learning stress management techniques, then your symptoms during that hormone decline phase that can start in your 30s are going to be far more exacerbated, and you're going to suffer a heck of a lot more than what you need to if you don't manage your health practices.
Yeah. And those are things that anybody can do, and you don't have to do like train as an athlete, but you can pick some things to do that. But I want to say something, because this is the grown folks conversation, right? And this is something my brother said, and this is to the female body, to the woman. We talk about the bodies and whose body's better, but my brother said something, and he said like, he's a smart guy, but he was being a smart butt when he said it. But it's really true. Women, any I don't want to say creature, but body that can live monthly and bleed once a month, every month, and not die and not suffer, just be part of their life. There's something amazing about that specimen. Right? May I say it that way? To me. And fellas, we need to be aware of the things that go on, and not just chalk it off for just part of life and the way life has to be. Like she's saying, if she's not active, help her get active. If she's not, paying attention to the diet, then help her get the diet. Don't have her fix dinner for you and fix dinner for her because she's trying to make changes. I'm going on and on and on about the stupidity that we as men practice in this case. So, man.
Yeah, not only that monthly bleeding cycle, but the fact that you can create a human being, and from a blob of cells it grows into another human being over 9 months, and your body has supported that.
Yeah. So it just, man, you need to pay attention. We need to understand that there's people out there like yourself that understand what's missing in our medical community and have some solutions.
Yeah, well, I wasn't, because I have been incredibly disciplined to look after my body because it was so sick for so long. I've been very fortunate that all of my symptoms have been minimal. Mind you, I've got a lot of regimented health practices, and I've been on particular supplements for over 20 years that I believe have also supported my healthy, balanced eating regime, because we have to be aware the quality of our food has dramatically deteriorated over the decades.
Say that again.
And so we can be eating food, but we may not be eating quality nutrition.
Right.
Very big difference.
Right.
And body fat on a woman dramatically increases her symptoms and the inflammation in her body. Inflammation is one of our biggest enemies in hormone decline. So you were talking about, in the introduction, my life quest. My life quest was to find inner peace and happiness. That was my first and foremost, because I literally, it took decades for me to have that fear response turned off. I lived in fight and flight for decades. But because I guess I was almost, this term might not be understood by a lot of people, but a functioning alcoholic. They can drink and they can still function as though they're fully there the whole day. I could do that living with my stress response turned on. I was on high alert the whole time.
Right.
And so when I was quite badly injured in some physical training when I was in the military. So I was medically discharged from the army. It left me lower limb disabled. I smashed my hip. And so that was another impact to that area of my body, which was already suffering so much. But I decided I wanted to help people in some capacity, and I was really driven towards the medical profession. So I took myself off to university as a mature age student and became a medical scientist in diagnostic pathology. So what does that mean? I was the white lab coat person who looked down the microscope diagnosing disease for doctors. They write you out a pathology script, you go get your blood taken. I'm the lab rat that told the doctor what was wrong with you.
Yeah, thank you very much for being there, by the way. So
and I learned a heck of a lot there. And I was also blessed because I was in the hematology oncology bone marrow transplant unit for a while. And so I was surrounded by death. I was also surrounded by people who were grateful to be alive. And it gave me contrast that, hey, my problems are not as bad as theirs.
Yeah.
So, that was a great perspective for me to take on to do some soul searching as well. And it also gave me insight into the pharmaceutical industry, which does not necessarily always benefit a sick person.
Yeah, can I just say this, that, that's probably part of it, but that's not really the driving force of their whole initiative. It's to create medicine and kind of complement what the doctors are saying. This will help you. I can't cure you, but this is what can help you live a quality of life that you might be comfortable with. And Big Pharma is their solution rather than some of the things that.
So what I learned during that time was, I believe, taking 100% responsibility that my health is in my hands because the doctors can't help me.
Yeah.
And so what am I prepared to do about that? I became highly educated in hormone disease and what happens to a woman once her hormones start to decline. I had to learn about it because it's a fact that your aging process accelerates once your hormones are in decline. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm 29 and I've just had my life force removed from my body. How am I going to sustain a young body for the next 20, 30, 40 plus years?
Yeah.
And that's what that was serious.
Yeah. Hey, I get it. And probably not a lot of information out there.
No,
Really,
it was not.
and that's part of what you're saying.
The gynecologist didn't even prepare me.
Yeah.
Because he was a male to start with, so he didn't know.
Right.
No disrespect.
No.
However, he could only go by the complaining women that constantly sat in front of him, telling him about all of their body aches and problems going on. And while we're on the topic of what happens, lack of libido is a massive problem.
Yeah.
Like your sex drive is literally turned off. And there are many, many changes that go on in the vaginal area of a woman. It becomes very dry. It becomes very irritated.
Yeah.
So, being intimate with your partner can be a really uncomfortable experience. And therefore, what happens is the woman then gets even more shied away from being intimate with her partner. And then he starts to think something's going wrong or on. And so there's this relationship gap that starts between a lot of couples during that time as well.
Yeah.
So, the ripple effect of what happens to a woman's body is it affects everybody around her, not to mention what's going on inside, because it's pretty ordinary.
Yeah. I love you said that, because that goes back to what I was saying earlier about really dialing up the energy and effort to understand, and it's not just because whatever you think is going on in life. There's some physical things that impact them, and we
physical things.
Yeah, physical things. Then it ties into the mental things, and at those times, that's when they need us the most.
Yes. So fast forward around 33. This was when I decided. So I was 4 years post hysterectomy. I decided, I was bedridden by this stage because I had 5 other autoimmune diseases that had just, my body was shutting down. And I thought, I talking to the universe, praying to whoever would listen, that give me a solution. And it was just through my investigations, and a friend of a friend heard about my medical condition, and they just said, look, I'm familiar with a holistic program, and some supplements that I've heard have helped other people. Do you want to take a look? And I said, of course. By this stage, I was already spending hundreds of dollars on naturopaths and supplements that unfortunately were not working. But I was taking it in hope that one day, I'd wake up feeling different.
Taking it, feeling maybe this is the day, right?
Maybe this is the day. That day didn't come through those means, unfortunately. But the angry desire kept me hanging in there, my friend.
Yeah, well,
and
33, young.
Yeah, it was ugly. I was unemployed at this stage as well, and that was the same time that I was on my second abusive marriage. I thought I'd give it a second go because the first go wasn't.
You didn't get enough the first time, right?
Wasn't enough stupidity. We all make stupid decisions, right?
We all make them. Hey, you can't own that one. We're all guilty of that.
Yes. Well, the catastrophic third decision was because I was, driven. I was working hard in my medical science career. I got a couple of investment properties. So, by the age of 30, I had 2 properties. Well, my second husband wanted to buy a small business, and he and his bank manager friend were in cahoots with each other, and he said, well, just let's talk to Lisa to see if she would go guarantor for your small business. And Yeah, you know what's coming, don't you?
Oh man.
Here I am, little naive me, thinking, oh well, blah blah blah, and of course they doubled my mortgages to basically falsely elevate the property value because there was not much regulation back then.
Yeah.
And so, yep, I basically went guarantor with my properties and went back into heavy mortgage. And within 20 months, his business went broke, and we were just like worlds apart by this stage. Didn't like each other at all, and I walked out with a suitcase and a $500,000 debt. So I was homeless by that stage. I was uncomfortable enough that I was prepared to walk away and face bankruptcy and homelessness than be with that person. Which was a big decision.
Yeah.
So things were pretty shitty by then. Oops, sorry, am I allowed to say that word?
Whatever you want at 3:30 in the morning, my friend. So,
things smelt like a smoking pile of dung.
Poo-poo or something, right? It was shitty. It was the way it was. I mean,
it was terrible. So that just compounded how unwell I was, and it was in that point in time that I started this holistic health program, and I'd always had an entrepreneurial spirit because I believed that I could achieve anything that I put my mind to, and I did just that. I became very successful in my business. And I found a new partner. We've been together 20 years now. So, yeah, we're not married yet. I just didn't want to do it a third time, but he's a keeper.
I don't blame you. Hey, if it was working, I'm not one of those that say you got to. I said, why? Hey, don't put that title on it because that title doesn't bring success. But anyway, that's just my
yeah.
opinion.
And so I learned how to be an entrepreneur from the ground up, and was able to build a business that turned over $10 million revenue over the 20 years of literally helping people change their life through healthy lifestyle and holistic practices. So, I was exposed to metaphysics and the ancient arts when I was 14. So all of this has done full circle. So I've got that beautiful combination of Eastern, Western medicine and the ancient wisdom that, we are literally a spiritual being in a human body that has no limits. How have we been to the moon? How do we build skyscrapers? How do we build jets? That's a higher intelligence that has the intuitive downloads that comes to us, and then we put that into action.
Yeah, no, I love that. I believe that. We don't have any idea of the magnitude of what's untapped, right? I mean, the untapped sources of the energy around us, our bodies, our brains, and how we transfer information. I mean, I just think that's so magnificent.
Yes.
And folks like you that are in that space. So as what, man, this has been great. I mean, I need to probably just get you on for just a session on some pieces because you have so much. We haven't even really got to a lot of the things. I mean, your story has been tremendous and all the things you're sharing. We really appreciate it. And so what, as we kind of wind down, when you talk about, what's some simple things, one or two around eating, or maybe even mention a supplement if you would, and people can take away, right? And then if you need more information, they can reach out to you. What would you tell us?
Well, there's sort of four main pillars of health that mind you, everybody needs to practice.
Yes.
However,
For sure. Yes.
and we're so bombarded by quick fixes these days, and trying to grab the easy looking solution, but nothing worthwhile is an overnight success.
Yeah.
And so it takes years for people's health to decline through neglect. It's like a garden. You don't tend your garden, you're going to get weeds and the bugs are going to come in. Our body is the same. We service our vehicle at the local garage so it doesn't break down. We don't service our body, and we need to do that on a daily basis. And so the core pillars of health are nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management. And in one of the most notable signs of a woman starting to transition is that she'll start to get this mid-region belly fat. And what a woman first instinct to do is, once she starts to gain weight, is go on a diet. Dieting creates more stress, which increases our cortisol levels, which lays down more fat deposits in a woman. Dieting increases stress, which increases inflammation in a woman's body, which creates more body ache and more problems in her body. So a woman needs to be on a good amount of protein, from 120 to 150 grams of pure protein per day. That's not the size of meat. That's actually the protein component. And I teach all of this when I do have clients. I personalize programs for them so they understand. I educate as I go along as well, so they understand why they're doing something. So we need to have more calories to feed our changing body, but it's got to be in the right balance of macros. We need to exercise. We don't need to do high intensity exercise and cardio, because that creates more stress on the body, more inflammation, more cortisol, more fat deposits, more ache in the body, more sleeplessness, more hot flushes. So the tailored exercise needs to be 3 to 4 strength exercises a week. That means resistance training, whether it's with free weights, bands, or body weight. I teach that as well. Sleep. Our sleep is massively disrupted through not just the hormones changing, but these hot flashes in the middle of the night where you covers on, covers off, covers on, covers off.
Yeah.
I had insomnia for 25 years with all of my hormone disease. I would sleep 2 hours a night on average, which is why I was not very healthy. Sleep is our restorative repair stage of our body, and it helps recharge our correct hormone systems as well. And so having good sleep hygiene practices, understanding what to do in your day so you can go to sleep at night. And the other thing is stress management, learning how to de-stress your body on a daily basis. I practice qigong and meditation, and even simple walks in nature as a nature bath. There's now particular phyto chemicals that trees emit that our body takes on as a healing, regenerative type of thing. So to have some kind of, when we have any kind of panic moment, because I had palpitations and anxiety moments when these hot flashes would come on. Like I felt like my heart was going to come out of my mouth. It was horrific. And so whenever we have a hormone surge in our of any kind, those chemical messengers last about 90 seconds in our body. And so if we can take a 90-second pause when we feel this coming on and just do some deep belly breaths, even if it's what we call box breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. So you're sort of creating a box
Yeah.
style.
Okay.
That kicks in the parasympathetic nervous system straight away and starts to calm down the body. So that 90-second phase will actually diminish rather than you getting all angsted up and then it's going to last for hours.
Yeah.
And that's with anything. That's with anger. That's with irritability. It is. So we can control that, but we just don't know how to.
Yeah. I'm sitting here because my wife is experiencing a lot of things that you said. I've watched. We've been together for a while, and last night we were sitting there, and then the heat flash came. And, now it's like, okay, geez, I'm thinking. When I wrote down for the breathing exercise, the 90 seconds and pausing, so early on I was like, I was ignorant. I didn't know what to say. So can I get you to kind of turn the air? It's just so important to have folks like you that are out there teaching and sharing. And, so we're certainly going to have to reconnect and get into some of these things that you're just skimming, not the surface on.
Yeah.
And the approach.
That would be lovely. Thank you.
The exercises and I tried to do a little homework too, on just to educate myself before I came on the show, because your experiences are just amazing, Lisa. Mm-hmm. It's just I'm gonna go back and listen and I'll take notes. If you're thinking I always like to take notes. I should probably not, but I do. But I can't help myself because it's so much. Well, good.
You want me to take notes everywhere.
Yes, it's so important because as we kind of wrap up, and I appreciate you sharing about the functioning alcoholic. It made me think of being, as I was a functioning addict. I know what you mean, right? Never missed a day of work, always at the highest level of performances I thought possible, but on the inside, I like to term it the dressed up garbage can life, and everything's shining on the outside, and on the inside it smells like whatever you want. That word you said earlier, shit, and so, but just it's a subject that needed to be talked about today.
Yes. And I hope we can have a few more conversations about it, because I would love to help as many women normalize it as possible and understand. I feel fantastic for a 55-year-old woman. I'm healthier now than what I was in my 20s and 30s and even 40s. And I'm really excited about aging, because I know that it's a beautiful stage of wisdom and grace. Once we, us in the 50 plus zone, we've lived life. Yeah. And so we've really got a lot to share. And an interesting fact, just before we go, because I know we need to wrap up the show, is that there's only about 5 species on the planet that live past reproductive age. And there are whales, elephants, some of the chimps and apes, and humans. And if you think about those populations of species, the woman is the matriarch. The great-grandmother is the one that teaches all of the children coming through how to live, how to survive, how to hunt, how to reproduce, how to look after the family. And so I'm getting goosebumps. This is a beautiful stage of a woman. But what we need is wellness to go alongside of that, so we feel empowered, so we understand that we can be that matriarch for our future generations, not just of our own family, but we need to be parents to the world, the planet, and that big ball in the sky, a big hug all over, and just love all over the world. Seriously.
Wow, I still get goosebumps. When I hear you say that, and I have a vision of my wife being alongside of you and just sharing the message and helping people understand. And I loved how you phrased it, the woman, the grandmother. And in our community, in many communities, Big Mama was the backbone, right? And Big Mama's missing today. And unfortunately, Big Mama didn't have a lot of conversation around this area across the board.
Yeah.
And to have someone courageous like yourself to come in and share your stories. I mean, from the traumatic life and then physical traumatic life, and then all the other things around, drinking and all that, and still showing up 55, and you look fantastic, by the way. I mean, I wouldn't have called you 55, and I mean, I never say it anyway, but I mean, just amazing evidence that you keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Yes, thank you.
And then serve, right?
Well, it's my legacy. I'm carrying on really what a matriarch. Yeah. I've never had children of my own. However, I was destined to have them because I've been stepmother to my partner's children since they were babies. So I was gifted children. I didn't see it as a gift in the start because I had to learn how to be a mother. But they've taught me they've taught me love. They've taught me compassion. They've taught me the innocence of a child's mind, and that we should have fun and just live free.
Yeah. Well, I talk about it all the time. What would life be like if we lived through the imagination of a child, right? And had the relentless attitude, just like, no doesn't. I don't even hear no. I don't care what you're saying, Pop, because I got 3 grandkids, and I'm not hearing you. But he doesn't understand. Pop's like, I'm gonna stay here until you decide to give up, because I understand the balance that you need to learn right in that space. But don't smoke them out. Don't turn the light on.
Yes.
And I love it. And I have not had biological children myself, and always thought I would have a bunch. I've been blessed. In my first marriage with a stepson from 3 years old to 20 something, and the second marriage with a daughter who provided 3 grandbabies, and just so. And I believe that we are meant to take that time that we may be consumed with all these kids and share our worth.
Yes.
Ooh, hey, oh man, this is. Man, so I ask you on the screen, put you on the spot about really in the next month or so, thinking about some things that we can have attached to this that you wouldn't mind, So here's A, B, C things, and really just if you would.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to. Thank you.
Yeah.
The key takeaways that I want people to do is first of all start to educate yourself with quality medical research about hormone decline, to understand what happens in a changing body, and also there's a lot of social media profiles out there who are educating, not necessarily the correct thing. So you've got to really find the correct resources. Understanding nutrition a lot better, and understanding the movement, like the physical exercise. Our muscles are our longevity. It's very, very important because we lose 3 to 5% of our muscle mass basically from the age of 35 onwards, and our muscles will keep us younger and keep our hormones more balanced and in check as we get older. It's so undereducated.
Muscle mass. Yeah, I hear it all the time about men losing muscle mass, and I'm in the gym still, and I can tell. So and talk about hormones. I had prostate surgery almost 2 years ago, and my whole body shifted and changed.
Yes.
And so, man, I'm hearing you.
Yes. Yeah. So we need quality protein in our diet. We need to learn how to actually get quality protein and what food groups have protein in them. And one of the other biggest things is our stress management. We put too much pressure on ourselves and think we've got to get it all done, and it's just go 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 go. Well, we're never going to get it done. It's just perpetual. We're never going to get it done. So stop it. When you surrender to that, life is a lot easier.
Yeah, we're never going to get it done. So stop it. Oh, man. So.
And I've just created, I mentioned this to you, the Vibrant Midlife Power Pivot. It's a 3-part video series. It's free. And I've got downloadable worksheets and lots of tools within that is available. It's on my LinkedIn profile, and it's also on my website. And that is where women can learn that they can harness the power. They can turn that transition into what's going to be their new life chapter of the best years to come.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, so educating yourself. So before you get out of here, is there a reference that you can mention in terms of starting some research? Is there one in particular?
There's actually a body called the Menopause Society, and that is where a lot of the medical research is being journaled. So, yeah, the Menopause Society is what the latest researchers are all about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And you told folks how they could get a hold of you. Do we need to tell them again before you get?
My name right on the screen there, Lisa Marie, MARRE.com. And that's also my name on LinkedIn. So yes, yeah, they're the 2 main ways you can contact me. And if you do want to reach out, jump onto my website or my LinkedIn profile, send me a message. Also, my email is hello@lisamarie.com. MARRE.
I love that. I was like, I was spelling your name at some point. This doesn't seem right because I know I read something different. I love how it's spelled. I always look at cool ways the names are spelled because Jeff with a G I always got picked on. So I've learned to kind of appreciate different names. So it's a beautiful thing today.
Yes.
So, hey, well, listen, you dropped a bunch of golden nuggets and some parting words, and we have information. Can you summarize in a couple sentences what this session has meant for you?
Just honestly, Jeff, I'm honored that a man has cared enough to want to bring this onto your show, and just to learn how you can understand your beautiful wife better. And obviously the other women in your family, but also to be able to allow me to share my wisdom for women who they're lost and they're alone and they don't know who to turn to. One very powerful piece of advice that I do want to finish with: a lot of doctors will just brush you off. No disrespect, but that is the common cry, that it's aging or it's all in your head. But you have the right to go and find another doctor. Look online for your local area, a doctor who specializes in women's health. If they're a general practitioner, go to them and ask them to refer you to a woman hormone specialist, which is normally an obstetrician gynecologist who specializes in menopause. You have to find the right people. Otherwise, they're just going to keep brushing you off, and you're going to just deteriorate even further. And you could be in the process of feeling better just by connecting with the right person who can help you on a professional level.
Yeah, man, that's great advice, because I've seen it happen, and because of how we as a people have been treated in the medical world, it doesn't matter how much money you have. Serena Williams as an example, right? And been neglected. I've always kind of made sure that I stand my ground. So thank you for the reminder, right? I mean, hey, there's nothing against the medical professionals by any means. But
no, not at all. Not all doctors are the same.
Yeah, not all doctors are. That's it. And you said the key thing: specialize in women's health. Right?
Yes.
And we got our friend Russ saying, "Hey, Russ Hedges, two amazing people. What's up, big guy? Appreciate you stopping."
Russ.
Yeah.
My friend.
That's a warrior right there.
Yes.
I mean, and he's all about finding the right people. So
Russ has me on his show every month.
Yeah.
And we're very good friends.
That's why I saw you. I said, I gotta get her, because I just and connected with Russ, and then your message today has just been phenomenal, Lisa. So thank you, and we will have you back again soon.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and I hope that you've all got some value. And I'm truly grateful for you allowing me to come on today.
Our pleasure. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right. Hey, listen, this has all been worth the time, and I don't care if you see this. I hope you stop and open it up, even though it's an hour long. Open it up and understand the magic that this young lady has shared with us in this time frame, and so many things. Lost and alone, ladies, gentlemen. You don't have to be lost and alone anymore. And that stinking thinking keeps you trapped in those times when you're all by yourself, when you're isolated, and all you can think about is the things that aren't going right. I encourage you to reach out to Lisa. Come on, man. Right? And fellas, we need to really talk about this more. So, Russ, thanks for stopping in. And for those of you who watch this replay, make sure you're sharing and getting it out. And as I say goodbye to you, I want to remind you, get a hold of Lisa. If you're out there, send this to a friend of yours. Don't struggle anymore. You don't have to, right? And if you got a doc and you're thinking maybe this ain't the right person, you're probably right. Go find another one. All right. Hey, listen, got to run. My information is in the chat if you want to get a hold of me. If you're looking at for somebody to come in and speak to your organization, I'm that guy around growth and recovery and all those other things about health and wellness. Man, have a great day. Man, what a show. Talk to you soon. Watch that Stinkin Thinkin. I always say you are worthy of success. Don't let nothing stop you from reaching your destiny, especially a Stinkin Thinkin. You will not be denied. Have a great day.